Welcome to Vibrant Publishers podcast, where we interview experts in various fields to share their insights and knowledge with our listeners. Today, we are joined by Dr. Denean Robinson, an advisory board member of our publishing house and a professor of human resources and leadership topics. Denean Robinson is an experienced professional with a passion for education and leadership. She received her bachelor's degree in family studies and counseling in 1994, followed by a master's degree in executive management from Maryland University College in 1998. In 2009, she earned her doctoral degree in educational leadership from Argosy University. Over the last 17 years, Dr. Robinson has developed and facilitated courses and seminars in various fields, which include marketing, human resource development, organizational behavior, and many more. Denean started her own consulting company 12 years ago in Montgomery County entitled Strategic Creations. Their mission is to enhance the professional knowledge, skills, and attitudes of executives of profit and non-profit organizations. Denean, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
So I would like to begin by understanding how you gained interest and sort of became the expert in field of human resource and leadership.
Well, human resources is an upcoming field, especially for minorities. It is the heartbeat of an organization. Without a strong human resource department, a company will falter. A company will not exist because we understand the heartbeat of the workforce and we understand what it takes to run an organization. Because not only do we just hire, but we have to train and develop, and we have to create a organization that has a DEI substance in it. And DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have to have a organization that allows their customers, such as the assets of an employee, to be able to be creative and be innovative and be able to help leaders understand the concept of being successful in their industry.
So you would say that every company definitely needs to have a HR department. It's not something one can compromise on.
No. Best practices indicates that companies who do not have their own personal human resource department and outsource that do not make it in that industry, because a human resource department falters all of the issues that employees have, and also they help to train and develop and help to create passion and also knowledge, because a company has to have a continuous education component or a professional development component. And that is what the human resource department is all about. It's all about creating organization development and also helping leaders understand that change management is a part of its structure of being able to be sustainable and accountable to their shareholders and their stakeholders.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. So these days, what are the key challenges that human resource professionals are facing, and how do you think these challenges can be addressed?
What is so important about human resource departments is that they understand the dilemma that employees have to be, because now we have wellness, personal wellness, and mental capabilities now have been a big component of workforce ever since the pandemic. So the human resource department has to implement programs that not only develop as far as skill sets, but creates a environment where wellness is a key component of support for the organization. Also, one of the other problems that we are running is that we have a shortage of a lot of specialization type of skill sets. So it's taking employers a longer time to fill vacancies. So now you're talking about 60 to 90 days. So that's 3 months. And so now, again, burnout is one of the number one concerns that human resource departments have to face when it comes with the workforce of any organization.
Okay. So what advice would you give to someone, to our listeners out there who are interested in pursuing a career in human resource?
One, you have to know about the current trends. You have to be knowledgeable about your industry. You have to understand how employee development is a huge component of organizational development. You have to be a people person. You have to be able to develop people because you want them to move upwardly in the organization. So you have to be able to see the big picture. So you have to be able to forecast, and you have to be able to strategically plan how every employee in that organization can have a skill set that can make that particular organization competitive and be sustainable, not just currently, but in the future.
Right, that was insightful. So now let's talk about DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, these have become increasingly important topics in the workplace. So, what do you think are some of the key benefits of having DEI in the workplace?
I think it's very important first to define what DEI is. And so, if you don't mind, I'd like to define it and then I'll
Yeah,
answer
please.
that question.
Sure.
So, diversity means that you want to have a workforce that represents what society is, because society will support organizations that have individuals that look like them in the
Yeah.
organization. So diversity is almost like if you go to a Thanksgiving dinner, you want to invite everyone from your family, doesn't matter
Right.
size, age. Okay, equity means that you want to give everyone an opportunity to be insightful, to be innovative, to be creative. So it's like making sure that you give everyone an opportunity to make a dish and bring it to that table. Okay, and inclusion means that you give everybody the opportunity to speak and also tell how they made their dish and why that dish is so special to them. And so that's what a DEI is. D is diversity, E is equity. Equity stands for fairness, truthfulness, openness, honesty. Inclusion means that you
Yeah.
want to include everyone as part of the decision making. You want to include their thoughts, give them an opportunity to express their opinions and their ideas and listen to them.
Right. And thank you for the example. This will help
Sure.
the listeners understand it better. So, how do the organizations measure the success of DEI?
Well, one of the things that components that DEI does is that it reflects the true meaning of diversity. So if you have a company that is diversified, then you have an opportunity to showcase a comprehensive, inclusive product, good, and service. Because now you have people who have different education, different backgrounds, who live in different geographical areas, different education and work experience coming together to create a product, good, or service. So it's more of a comprehensive view of what society sees. And so you have an opportunity to include more customers as part of your organization. One of the ways that you can implement DEI practices is to have a DEI hiring committee. You will have different people of different ethnicity, different genders, different abilities, different races, sex, who are part of a hiring committee, different roles in the organization. They're coming together and able to make key decisions on who is the best fit for the vacancies. Another part is to have a DEI statement. Just like a company has a mission and vision statement, a mission is the purpose, why you open your doors every day. What do you
Right.
want to bring to society? The vision statement is what are you trying to achieve in currently and in the future? And so a DEI statement indicates that if you work in this company, that we believe in fairness, we believe in equity, we believe in giving everyone an opportunity to shine. We will support you. And so companies that are not afraid to let people know that they are a DEI organization are more committed to bringing balance and bringing tranquility into the world.
Okay. And could you share some examples of DEI initiatives that could help the leaders and managers give an idea of
Yes.
what they can do for their company?
Well, the first initiative is making sure that you have constant continuing education training and culture sensitivity training. Also, making sure that people know that if you have individuals that make up different culture and ethnicity, learning how to speak to each other, learning how to communicate to each other, learn how to really listen. So have training in those type of areas. Also have policies and processes to talk about how the organization is going to construct policies and products that represent DEI. Example of this is that Barbie. Now, Barbie has been around for centuries, but now Barbie understands in order to gravitate, in order to be able to be a representative of the nation, now they are creating dolls that have people who have this or disability, have different ethnicity. And so now not only are they showing that they are a diversified organization, but they're able to gravitate to much more society. So they're able to gravitate and invite more people to be a part of their products.
So this creates a paradigm shift. Just
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
right. You were saying.
I'm sorry. It creates what we call a mindset, a mind capability. When you know that you have a major company that's going out of its way to create dolls that represent maybe some part of society where people do not want to visit, because how many toys that they actually include everyone. People have disability, people have who are ethnic, have different types of ethnicity or gender. And so it really stands for what DEI is. DEI is something that an organization is going to have to address. If they do not address this and come up with initiatives such as hiring, also marketing, making sure that when you create a website that you show a diversified workforce. You also want to show that you have a DEI statement. You want to create policies and procedures that talk about trainings, that talk about commitment, how that you're going to deal with conflict, that you also want to develop a rapport with maybe minority companies that can distribute your products and goods and services and help you to get into a geographical area, or also introduce you to a part of society that maybe companies haven't never thought about. Because now they're understanding that minorities are a big part of the economy. And so you need to make sure that you start to address their needs, because companies that are starting to address minorities' needs are starting to get a better or bigger market share in their industries.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. And now I would like to talk about the current age and the future. And how do you see the future of human resource development evolving, especially with remote work and technology and AI coming into the picture?
HR has to develop policies and procedures, especially when it comes to ethics, because when you start to use AI, you want to make sure that you're not violating HIPAA, not violating anyone's personal right, or their personal information is being distributed without their recognition or without their permission. So I see that HR is going to have to be the monitor of AI, making sure that when you do use it, that is for a particular component of the organization that does not have to have human capability. For example, you're starting to see AI start to take over administrative assistant positions, starting to answer calls, start to trigger where the phone calls need to be delivered within the organization. You start to see AI take over certain components, that basic components, but you have to be careful, because when it comes to training, you can use AI for a certain part of training. So for example, say you want to teach a basic ethics class, you can use AI because they can use different situations, different components of learning how to handle certain situation. But when it comes to actually training deep components such as how to do an active shooting training, or because active shooting needs to be a part of your day-to-day training. And see, that's what HR does. HR works with leaders to make sure that you're developing the trainings that are concurrent based on what's going on in society right now.
Right. And
Yeah.
so emotional intelligence is something that AI will never be able to replace, right? That is a component.
No, yes, they won't. Emotional intelligence is basically the components of emotional intelligence is about self-awareness. That's the first component, is self-awareness. Human beings, we have to be aware of our emotions. We have to be aware of our triggers. And triggers are to find any component that can trigger any type of emotion, whether it be sad, happy, angry, or depressed.
Right.
Those are the four major emotions that we experience. And so we as human beings, we have to always do a self-evaluation to understand what we can do. That's one of the only components in life that we as human beings can control, is our emotions. And so when you allow other people to control your emotions, you allow them to control you. And so we always have to do self-regulation. And then be self-aware of what is going on in the environment. That's where human resources comes in. Human resources
Yeah.
have to set protocols, have to set boundaries of how human beings are going to behave, how we're going to interact and communicate with each other, and we have to hold each other accountable. And it doesn't matter whether you are CEO or leaders, because one of the components of human resources is that we have to be up to date with the state and federal laws and how that relates to
Yeah.
the industry, how it relates to us doing business. And so the CEOs and senior leaders are not going to be up to date with that. So that's what human resources is, making sure that all the bylaws and the policies are up to date so that we are running our business in concordance to the laws and the regulations of the industry.
Right. Now, I would like to discuss a little bit about leadership. How can leaders create a culture of innovation and continuous improvement within their organizations?
First of all, leaders need to be open. They need to be honest. They need to be transparent.
Yeah.
They need to take the time and step out of their office and interact with their major customers. And their major customer is their employees. Always tell leaders they have two customers. They have the internal customers and their external customers. The internal customers is their employees. And employees is the best and the most important asset that a company has, because a company's success and failure depends on how you train, how you hire, and how you support the development of that employee. So leaders have to understand the heartbeat of their employees. They have to understand how to motivate them, how to create opportunities, how to create job descriptions where they are constantly learning and constantly being able to implement what they are being trained on into their
Yeah.
day-to-day activities. So it's about understanding how to place people in the right place at the right time and how to get the most of your employees, with supporting them and being able to let them know this is why your work is so important. So being able to have, one of the things I always tell leaders, especially when we had the pandemic, is that they had to be open. They had to communicate with them periodically. They have to have all staff meetings. And now that we have become comfortable in
Yeah.
using Zoom or WebEx, whatever electronic teleconference equipment that you have, we can always jump on, and we can
Right.
always take note and take access of how our employees are doing, because you have to have periodically check in to see that your employees are mentally as well as physically still capable of handling the components of their task.
Right. And I really like the example of that companies have two customers, and the first one is their employees. That really gives
Yes,
a perspective change.
yes, yes. It's a mindset. Leadership is all about being transformative, being able to look at your employees, look at your industry, and being able to develop a framework. And that's what HR helps leaders do. They help them to develop a framework that can help them be competitive.
Right. Now, I would like to ask you personally, what do you prefer more or like more? Do you love to teach HR and be in the academics, or do you like to practice and be in the industry?
I like teaching. As I have been teaching for over 20 years, um, I love teaching because I'm seeing the future. The future. I'm looking at the future, and uh, the students are very bright because technology is so advanced than when I was going to school.
Right.
And not only is it more advanced, but is helping employees be more productive and be more efficient. So I just love teaching because I love to instill in the new HR representatives or the new HR managers that passion and empathy and becoming a servant leader are now all the excellent components that you have to represent. You have to become a student of your specialization. So it doesn't matter whether you have your undergrad degree, your master's, or your doctorate, you still have to be a student of your industry. So you have to keep up with the knowledge and keep up with what you need to know so that you can help your organization integrate that new knowledge into the workforce environment.
Right. Great. So now I would first of all like to thank you for giving such a great insight on all these topics. And I'd like to ask you about your experience as the editorial board member of our publishing house. Now, what advice would you like to give to someone who is interested in writing a book on a topic they are passionate about, but has never written a book before? So, someone who wants to be a first-time author, what advice would you like to give to them?
First, make sure that you have to select a certain topic because you can be passionate, say, about cooking, but what about cooking are you
Yeah.
passionate about? So you need to define the topic. So define the topic that is more grounded to your personality, to your belief. The more a topic is grounded to your belief and personality, the more easier that it is to write. Also, I would suggest speaking to someone who has written before or published before because they can give you insights. They can give you suggestions, especially if you have a mental block. They can tell you how to start. It's very important that before they start writing, that they speak to the publishing company to get a full understanding of how they want their manuscripts to be written, what type of how they want their information to be formatted. So that's very important. You have to feel comfortable with the publishing company because you're a partner. You're a partner in creating this product from beginning to the end. So you have to be
Yeah.
comfortable with the publishing company. And also, you have to do a lot of research. So make sure that you have time because you do not want to be writing when you are have a very hectic schedule. You want
Okay.
to be writing when you have time to spend in developing this product. So those are my suggestions, but it's all about passion and being able. I think the hardest thing is to finding the topic so that it is so infinite that people know what you're talking about.
Right. So, Denean, I would like to know your thoughts about our self-learning management series.
I love it. Being a board member of Vibrant Publishing Company has brought me a lot of joy. I've been able to work with other board members and speak with them. which has been a pleasure because you get to know people from different backgrounds and different specialities. So I love the self-management, especially in leadership and management. I've been able to use them as a supplement for my leadership and management classes that I teach at University of Maryland, Baltimore County. My human resources bundles I've been able to refer to my human resource students, especially in my continuing education classes that I teach at Prince George's Community College. So I think that, and personally, I have purchased a lot of those self-management because it has, I think that your books are well written by specialists around the world who work in various industries, who teach in various colleges and universities. And so I've been blessed to be able to review some of your books, which to me was a great skill set, that additional skill set that I learned. And so I think that anyone that purchase the self-management books from Vibrant is getting a gem of a resource that I'm from old school, so I like books. And so because even though books never get old, all you gotta do is dust them off. And so I have a whole bookcase of gems from Vibrant Publishing Company. And sometimes what I do is when I know that there's a new teacher that I have to mentor in a particular area that Vibrant has their self-management books, I will order that book for them and present it to them as a present. So I have given a lot of Vibrant Publishing books as gifts throughout the last 2 years, and people, my colleagues, seem to like them because it's well written, and they're not too long, and the chapters are not too long. So it's really, with the table of contents, the way it's put together is easy to maneuver, and I like that you also offer self-test. So once you read a chapter, sometimes you have a self-test, and so you can use these texts, you can use these self-management books to develop tests or quizzes in your own class. But I would highly recommend the self-books management books for supplement material that we as professors always have a list of supplement material. And so your publishing company is one of my books that I always put in.
Denean, thank you so much for the kind words, and we are also very grateful to have you as our advisory board member. And I also want to thank you for your valuable insights that you gave us today. And I wish you all the best for your upcoming projects. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And we hope you found this podcast informative and insightful. Thank you so much, Dr. Denean.
Thank you and have a great day.